This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing. And so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. You just heard from Game Point Sports Complex and their creator, that being Jim Dispenza, and that is the home of the practices of your Bryant Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse men's and women's basketball program. So I want to thank Jim Dispenza for having the awesome facility that is climate controlled and ready for any weather, any time of the year. And of course, as always, ready for your Bobcats. So with that being said, Clay Gagen-Sherman is here with me, bringing him in for some breaking news that has come out of Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse. Breaking news from the school. Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse has joined a conference. They've been independent for a while in USCAA Division I. Now they're officially part of a conference. With that comes a lot of things, and more meaningful games, more opportunities. And I'm very, very excited to hear Clay Gagen-Sherman speak about it. I just saw him a couple days ago in a victory over SUNY ESF at home at Allen Hall on the campus of OCC. Clay, how we doing?
Morning, Dan. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Happy to have you on. I got to ask you this, though, because this is one of the most important questions that you'll ever be asked. Who drew the picture behind you?
That's from Kate and Cleo a couple years ago. This is see if I can turn the laptop.
Yeah.
But yeah, before nationals, that's Cleo with the team. She made us a sign, a good luck sign.
Yeah.
That was my first year of the men.
Yeah, and you also have one behind you here that says "Go Bobcats," so I see that as well. So bring me into this. Let everybody know the name of the conference and just the going through the process of joining a conference and making some history with Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse.
Yep, it's the NACIA conference. It's a 9-team conference. So we got obviously ourselves, the Buffalo campus, the Albany campus, Rochester, Also, our Ohio campus is in it. And then Bloomfield College, Five Towns College, Berkeley College, and Villa Maria. So, yeah, definitely really exciting news for us. A 9-team conference, as you mentioned, meaningful games, bringing back those rivalries we had with the previous Bryant Strattons when we played them twice a year. Um, so, yeah, some big stuff, and obviously second semester is mostly conference play, and then followed by a conference tournament before nationals. So it's no longer just an independent schedule with the hope to get an at-large bid. It's a non-conference schedule and a conference schedule, and then once again a conference tournament. So we're competing for a championship within that 9-team conference, and then nationals after that. So much more traditional with a lot of other schools in that sense.
Yeah, and the excitement of this, right? Having the opportunity for a conference championship, playing conference games, going into a conference tournament, and putting even more value into the work that's being done, and then going from there and going on to the national tournament. So like you said, having that in between, right? And something that we're used to when it comes to college basketball, and it's something that makes a lot of sense, right? That's what we see in the NCAAs is that you play your games non-conference, you play your conference games, you play your conference tournament, and then you try to get in the national tournament. And now it's given that template where we're going to see Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse play the games that you put on your schedule out of conference, play the in-conference, play the other Bryant Stratton campuses, bring those rivalries back, then get into a conference tournament where you can already win a championship before playing for a national title. It gives you an opportunity for multiple championships and gives you games that hold a lot of weight and puts you in a great place, hopefully nationally, to even more so showcase what you can do. And you have a full slate of games, and you got a pretty packed schedule this year. So I think everything is moving in the right direction as far as the vision of Bryant Stratton of Syracuse.
Yeah, for sure. And once again, like each one prepares us for the next. The non-conference prepares us for the conference. The conference tournament prepares us for the national tournament. So it's really exciting from a scheduling standpoint that we do have a full schedule this year. And that conference tournament, I think, is going to be really important for our preparation for the national tournament. Because once again, it's meaningful games, pressure. It's on, pressure's on the line. Win or go home. So yeah, it gives that competitive nature and puts us in a pressure atmosphere playing for something that matters. So really excited about that.
Yeah, and it gets Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse in the spotlight of the NACIA, the NACIA in general. You can go to naciasports.net. I'm on it right now here in the studio taking a look, and all this promotion for Bryant Stratton, talking about awards that were won. And like you said, the teams that are in it, there's Bryant Stratton campuses throughout America. So you have Albany as well as Syracuse being in there. We have Albany, Buffalo, Rochester, like you said, Ohio. We have Five Towns as well as Bloomfield, who you're going to be playing today. And you have Villa Maria that's a part of this. And you made mention of the fact that Berkeley and Bloomfield. So, having all of these schools within this 9-team conference, when you look at the competition, you look at the history, what does it mean to you to have this makeup of schools? Because I'm always talking about realignment and all these things that are happening with the NCAA. When you look at the NACIA, what does this conference itself, as far as, because what do they say? The value is the sum of its parts. So when we look at these 9 schools, what are your thoughts about the level of competition and the value of the conference?
Yeah, I think top to bottom is extremely competitive, especially in basketball on both the men's and women's side. I mean, 4 of the 8 national tournament teams last year for men's Division I basketball are in this conference: Villa Maria, Berkeley, us, and Buffalo. And just doing early scouts and watching the teams, it's just a really high level. It's no longer a cupcake non-conference schedule in the first semester. We get right into it, and obviously, like, we've added some schools outside of the conference to give us a higher level of competition early on. But every single conference game could go either way. Like, teams are really, really well balanced. And again, it's just you look at our conference and it's like you look at the rest of the USCA Division One, any single one of our teams could make the national tournament in D1 men's basketball, which excites me because that just means like the level of competition on a weekly basis across the conference is going to be extremely high, and I think it's going to be a really good thing for the USCAA to have a legitimate conference that will gain reputation across the country.
Yeah, I love it. And you look at Bryant Stratton, the other campuses, Rochester, Albany, Buffalo, Ohio. Looking at those, I mean, there's that rivalry, right? Because when you're representing Bryant Stratton, and we know that this is, the Bryant Stratton name is all over this country. So when you're having those matchups, you want to be the one that is at the top of all of this. I know you've had some heated battles with Buffalo, and then obviously, historically we've seen Rochester and Albany, and it's good to also see Ohio as a part of this. Just to know those other campuses are there and the playful banter back and forth, not just within the sports departments of these Bryant Strattons, but obviously of the institutions that, Mary Hawkins is, I'm sure, going to be out there as a campus director saying, hey, we want to take care of business when we face off against these teams. And, Brooke Parro is the athletic director saying, when I'm in meetings, it's good to turn around and say, like, we got the best of this. So I'm sure there's going to be that playful back and forth between Bryant and Strattons of which one is the one that's at the top of this conference.
Yeah, and we're all proud Bobcats, but obviously in the sports world, we all want to be the best. This conference is kind of an extension of what we used to do with the Vaden Cup a few years back before the conference formed last year, and the Vaden Cup was just the postseason tournament for basketball between the other Bryant and Strattons, and that really started the rivalries. Playing for hardware, playing to be the best Bryant Stratton basketball program, and Buffalo won a lot of those tournaments. So Buffalo's done a very good job with their program, and they've been the top dog in the basketball world. And obviously last year we had a great season, but we just didn't get the opportunity to really compete against against Buffalo until the consolation game at the national tournament. So it'll be exciting to bring those games back and see how we measure up. And once again, just play for something that's bigger than just a non-conference regular season game. So
for you, what does it say about the state of athletics at Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse that this was one of the next moves? We've seen, we got to break the exclusive news of you partnering with Game Point Sports Complex on 211 South Center Street in East Syracuse for men's and women's basketball training and practices. And now we're talking about this conference. Just what is it saying about these moves that are being made by Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse means what for the state of the school?
I just say it's a commitment to the growth mindset we have, within the department to try to move our programs forward in a better direction. We're fully invested in giving our students the complete student athlete experience, and a big part of that is playing games, playing a competitive schedule, and once again, just playing games that matter. The conference tournament's a really big deal. And then also, being part of a conference, there's weekly accolades, student player of the weeks, and all those things. So more opportunities for student athletes to be recognized for their achievements on and off the court and field. But yeah, I think joining the conference is just a symbol of the mindset we have as a department and a school. And that's just basically having the growth mindset and continuing to grow our athletic programs.
Yeah, and now these non-conference games, some of them you were playing, become conference games. So now they hold even more weight to them, including Bloomfield coming up here. Clay, to look at the season, obviously I've been around you a lot to start off this season, but what have been your takeaways as you've looked at this team and you get ready for some road contests and other things that you'll have out here? What have you seen from your team up to this point when you take an overall approach?
Yeah, I think it's a long season. I think we're doing some of the hard work, the stuff you don't necessarily want to deal with early on. I think we're doing that early in this season. We're addressing problems. We're having difficult conversations as a team and teammates to get on the same page. I think that's really important. I think that's something we learned last year. Through that, I think we're going to grow as a team. We're going to be more connected down the road. But obviously, I think the potential is through the roof with this team, and guys are just figuring out what their roles are and buying into those roles. And again, I think the potential of this team is a national championship and also a conference championship. And when we look at the other teams we play, we like our chances every time we take the court. So just really excited about this team. And, we're just kind of putting a precedent as a program to hold each other accountable, to be disciplined, to learn through our mistakes and just buy in and do whatever it takes to help this team win.
Yeah, that coming from Clay Gagen-Sherman, the head coach of the Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse men's basketball program early on in this season as they work through, like he said, a long season. And, I would say, and I think it's fair to say, this is the most that you've had on a bench. I don't think there's an open seat on the bench here for you this season. A ton of student athletes, a full roster, and building depth. What can you say to that effect of just what the team makeup is this season and the fact that you can go to somebody else, somebody can pick up the slack? I mean, you have some guys that are out, but it's like to me there's no drop off. It's you miss having Keon out there, but there's guys that are playing well around the rim. You may not have this point guard for this game, but then a TJ Oliver steps up. So just what you can say to the amount of guys you have on this roster, which I think is the most ever, as well as the depth of the team.
Yeah, it as a coach, it kind of puts you in the driver's seat to hold your team accountable and keep guys in line and have them stay the course and do things the right way. And that was definitely a big part of having a bigger roster, a talented roster with depth. Obviously through that, guys got to sacrifice. Only 5 guys play at once. There's only 40 minutes in a game. So it can be challenging because you do have talented players getting limited minutes at times, sometimes not even getting into games. And again, that is a challenge. Yeah. But it's a good problem to have, and guys just have to stay the course and stay ready and make the most of their opportunities when they get them. And I think that's definitely been happening within our team. Guys are getting opportunities. They are stepping up when their number's called. But yeah, as a coach, it is a positive because when guys start, acting up, doing things wrong, someone else can take their place in a second. And the guys that are sitting are ready for that opportunity. And again, guys know that, so it keeps everybody hungry. It keeps the atmosphere competitive, and it keeps us getting better as a team.
That coming from Clay Gagen-Sherman. Clay, before we jump out of here and before you jump on a bus for your next trip in your next matchup, you and I are going to play some rapid fire. So you're ready. He just rubbed his hands together. That means he thought about something. So you're going to get the first question. What's your question for me?
What's the score of tonight's game? What do you got? Us versus Bloomfield.
Okay. Bryant Stratton, Syracuse 96. Bloomfield 82.
Okay.
All right.
I like that. I like that.
My question.
You did your scout.
What'd you say?
You did your scout.
Yeah. My question back to you. If you were coaching me right before I got out onto the court, what would you say in my ear?
Let it fly. Shoot or shoot. Let it fly.
All right.
Don't think twice. If you're open, shoot the ball.
I like that. All right, what's your next one for me? You hear that, Nolan? So what's your next one? What's your next one for me?
Let me see. What is the most important job in the world?
Most important job in the world. I think one man already did it and he died, and then he rose. I would say, besides God himself, the most important job in the world. Man, I think we all have it. I think it's the job of staying the course, staying focused on faith, and keeping God first in a world that will give you every single reason not to. And I think it's living simply and living focused in a time where there are more distractions than ever, and remembering that the keeper of your life is you. I think so many of us want to know what other people think about us, and I think that's a dangerous road to be on. I think the most important thing to do is to know who you are, celebrate who you are, be who you are respectfully, and just know the rooms that are good for you to be in, and know the rooms that you don't have to waste your time in, but to be yourself in every single room. I would probably say that.
Love that.
All right. My question back to you. If you and I were in a movie together and we couldn't be what we are, you couldn't be a coach and I couldn't be a broadcaster, what role would you have? What role would I have? And what genre of movie would it be?
It's got to be a comedy.
Okay.
And I feel like, man, you're like a restaurant owner, like an Italian restaurant owner, maybe, and I'm just a client. Maybe you serve espresso or something like that. That's my spot that I stop at every day. We have a good conversation, and then, I'm off to work, and again, you're making some great pizzas, serving some good coffee or something like that.
Yeah.
Making jokes every day.
Something wild happens, which puts us on a course to have some fun. I could see it. I can appreciate it. All right, what's your last question for me?
What's a skill that you don't currently have that you'd love to learn?
I've always wanted to be able to flip.
Jump up and do a flip?
Yeah. I've always wanted, like, at some point in my life, I want to be able to do a flip. And I see the things where they train people and they have like the harness and whatever, and they like kind of like train your body. I would love to be able to do a flip. I don't care if it's jumping off a wall and doing it or what, but I'd love to be able to do it at least once.
I feel like you still got time to learn that.
Yeah, I need to. I definitely need to learn it. My last question for you. Now that you have 3 children, if you could go back in time and give yourself a piece of advice right before your firstborn was born, what advice would you give to yourself?
I mean, sleep as much as possible while you can. I think that would be a good one. And then just enjoy every second. Like, don't take a second for granted when they're little because it goes fast. Yeah, so that'd be a big one.
Yeah, if I were you,
slow down a little bit, no matter what else is going on, and just enjoy each day.
Yeah, my advice, if I was in your shoes, would be appreciate every high five from Cleo, because sometimes it takes years to get another one.
Don't give up. Never give up.
So with that being said, Clay Gagen-Sherman, this Bobcat Buzz exclusive in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse. We're inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios celebrating the breaking news of the historic moment of the Bryant Stratton College of Syracuse joining a conference, the NACIA. Clay, as always, I appreciate you. Safe travels today, and I'll see you soon.
Appreciate it, Dan. Take care.
All right, take care. Be good. That comment from